Hello, everybody. With the new Descent of Dragons expansion just a few days away, I thought I would put out my own official card review. So let's get right into it. First, let me explain how I'm going to be rating these cards. So I'm not going to rate these cards by stars or tiers or anything like that. I'm just going to put them in several different categories. The first of which is competitive. And to me, that means the card will be in a tier 1, 2, or 3 deck fairly consistently. So that's my definition of a competitive card. And just below competitive, we have what I would call the fringe cards. These are cards that are sometimes in competitive decks, but alternate in and out of them. So still a good card, but not quite the cream of the crop of the competitive cards. So that's a fringe card. And then below the fringe cards, we have the garbage cards. These cards, you can call them pack filler, you can call them arena cards. These cards will not be in competitive decks consistently at all. So that is the definition of a garbage card. And then below the garbage cards, we have the tech cards. These are cards that are definitely only meta dependent if they'll ever see play. So there's only a few of these, but I thought they deserve their own separate category because they may be in competitive decks later down the line if we need to tech against something that's oppressive. And lastly, what I'm looking forward to the most, the meme and combo cards. So there aren't very many of them this expansion, but I'll try to highlight some and give you a few of my thoughts on some of the more special cards of the set. So let's get into it. All right, let's talk about Hunter a little bit. From the bird's eye view, Hunter obviously got support for Dragon Hunter, and there's also some support for some kind of hero power Hunter, I guess. I guess that's the thing. Sure. So let's get started with the first card. The first card is a 1-mana side quest called Clear the Way. Summon 3 Rush minions, reward summon a 4/4 Gryphon with Rush. Now, not a huge requirement considering there's cards like Spring Paw around, so that's 2 right there. And the reward is decent but not amazing. So the question is, would you use this card to take up a spot in your deck? And I would say no. I would say this card is not quite good enough to see play, especially in Hunter. In another class, maybe this would see play. But in Hunter, the reward doesn't really lend itself to how Hunters want to win the game at this point. So I would say this card is actually garbage. I don't even think it's fringe. I don't think it will see play hardly at all. So a little disappointing, but I think it still falls into the garbage category. The next card is a 1-mana 1/3 minion, Dwarven Sharpshooter. Your hero power can target minions. Now, I've seen this effect before. I believe there was a 2-mana 2/3 called Steamweedle Sniper, which had the exact same effect, and that card saw very limited play, if any. I think this card could see some fringe play in a Highlander Hunter, but that's probably about it. It could find its way into an Aggro Hunter just because it has the premium 1/3 stat line. I mean, Dire Mole found its way into Aggro Hunter, but Dire Mole was a beast, and this is not a beast, so you lose some synergy points there. But still, the 1/3 stat line is still no joke. Having an early 1-drop that's probably not going to get killed immediately is a very powerful effect for an aggro deck. But I still think it's fringe competitive. You won't see it a ton, but I think you'll still see it enough to be aware that it exists. Let's put it that way. All right, next card is Toxic Reinforcements. It's a 1-mana side quest. Use your hero power 3 times. Reward, summon 3 1/1 Leper Gnomes. I've seen some people that were pretty high on this card. I think this card is absolutely horrendous. It is terrible. It is not an aggro hunter card by any means. Aggro Hunter does not want to use their hero power 3 times. That is not how an Aggro Hunter wins. And summoning 3 1/1 Leper Gnomes late game is not how an Aggro Hunter wins either. Aggro Hunters want to win on turn 6, 7, 8. So how are you going to find time to hero power 3 times, let alone also play this card in the beginning of the game? So it's just awful. It's really, really terrible. It doesn't fit the Control Hunter style. It doesn't fit Aggro Hunter style. It just does nothing. I feel like the only place where this card actually makes sense to play is in like a Quest Hunter, which is, it's not terrible in Quest Hunter, but I don't think you'd include it in Quest Hunter because hero powering before you get the actual quest reward is not something you really want to do in Quest Hunter. You have to play so many minions to actually get the quest reward, so it doesn't quite work there. It could work in Wild with Odd Hunter, but again, with Odd Hunter, you want to win on like turn 6. So how are you going to find time to hero power 3 times? It doesn't fit anywhere. The fact that it's 3 times and not 2 times is actually a huge deal. So I think this card is unplayably bad. It is garbage. Absolute garbage. All right, next card. Wow, Power Creep, Power Creep. 2-mana spell, Corrosive Breath. Deal 3 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, it also hits the enemy hero. So it's very similar to Cobra Shot, which is a 5-mana card that essentially does the same thing. So it's 3 mana cheaper if you're holding a dragon. The question becomes, is an all-out dragon hunter going to become viable? And I would say right now, No. There may be some kind of hybrid Highlander dragon version deck that becomes viable, and I think you would still run this card even if you're not running that many dragons. I would say it's fringe playable, even though it's 3 mana cheaper than a previous card. It's still fringe playability, I would say. There's also a potential meme combo with this card as well, considering it's a fairly good card for a Malagos Hunter build of all things, but I would still say overall it's a fringe playable card. Very fringe. The next card is a 2-mana 2/3 beast called Phase Stalker. After you use your hero power, cast a secret from your deck. This card is somewhat reminiscent of Mass Contender, but I think Mass Contender is actually a little bit better than this card. This card may still find a home in Secret Hunter or even a Highlander Secret Hunter, probably more so in Highlander Secret Hunter than actual full-on Secret Hunter. I'm not sure that this whole hero power idea is really going to pan out into anything significant right now. So because of all that, I would probably give this a fringe playability. I don't think it'll be in every Highlander Secret Hunter deck, and I don't think it'll be in every Secret Hunter deck, but it'll be in some. Next card is a 3-mana 4/1 beast called Diving Gryphon, which is Rush, Battlecry, draw a Rush minion from your deck. So obviously it has some synergy with the side quest we talked about previously. Ultimately, I don't think this card really fits in Hunter all that well, because it's more of a board-centric card, whereas Hunters, typically want to win the game before turn 10. This card doesn't really help you win the game before turn 10 all that well. It's a very well-statted card. It essentially probably will kill a minion and draw you a card from your deck, which is undeniably powerful in other classes. I think in Hunter it's pretty average, and I think it'll see fringe playability in a Highlander Hunter deck, and that's probably about it. Alright, next card is a 3-mana 2/3 dragon, Primordial Explorer, Poisonous, Battlecry, Discover a Dragon. This is an auto-include in any Dragon Hunter deck, but again, as we kind of previously stated, I don't think specifically Dragon Hunter is going to be the best version of Hunter. This card is kind of a jack of all trades card. It has a decent stat line, a potential removal effect in the Poisonous, and value generation in terms of discovering a dragon. So I feel like this card will see some fringe playability in a Highlander Hunter deck, even one that's not dragon centric. So I would say this card is fringe playable. I think we'll see it some, but not a ton. The next card is a 3-mana weapon for Hunter called Stormhammer. It has 3 attack and 2 durability, and the effect is doesn't lose durability while you control a dragon. It has a nice effect, but it's also a lofty requirement. I don't think this card is that good, even in a Dragon Hunter. I don't think it'll be run every single time. I don't think Dragon Hunter is the premier Hunter deck, so I don't think this will see all that much play, and for that reason I'm going to give it a garbage rating. Alright, the first legendary minion for Hunter is a 4-mana 3/5 mech called a Dragonbane. After you use your hero power, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. This is a very interesting card. I think it's probably an auto-include in most Mech Hunters, but Mech Hunter hasn't been super relevant for the past several months. I don't think this card brings Mech Hunter back to where it once was, but it definitely fits in that deck, and I think it will help in that deck. I think this card is strong enough that it could find its way into Highlander Hunter as well. It has a decent stat line, has a nice effect, and it basically has pseudo-taunt because your opponent cannot leave this on the board for very long. I think this card also has some meme and combo potential. If you can reduce the cost, copy it a couple times, and maybe use a pixie to flip your hero power a few times, there's maybe an OTK in there if your opponent's board is clear. So I'll probably give that a try. But I think this card is competitive. I think it's good enough that it'll see play in Highlander Hunter and definitely Mech Hunter. The last card is a 6-mana 7/6 dragon for Hunter with Battlecry. Change the health of all enemy minions to 1. So it's a mass Hunter's Mark. This card has a very good stat line for its mana cost. It has a nice effect, but the problem with this card is that it requires something else to help you clear the board, right? You either need Spring Paw or Unleash the Hounds or something to help you clean up the enemy minions, right? Or trade off a minion that's already on the board. This is one of those cards that's a good card, but not in Hunter. I feel like there's one of those at least every single set where it's like, wow, that card is really great and really powerful. If only it wasn't a Hunter card. And I think that's this one. It's a nice value card. It's a very board-centric card, but it's not something that Hunters need or want to do ultimately to try to win the game. So I don't think this card will see much play. I think it's going to be a garbage card. It'll go in Dragon Hunter, but again, it's just okay. But I think it's garbage. It's okay, but garbage. That's my assessment. Let's look at Hunter cards one last time. So clear the way. I think this card is bordering on garbage and fringe. It has nice value for what it does, but I don't think it's a card you actually want to put into your Hunter deck. So there's that. Dwarven Sharpshooter, I think we'll see a little bit in Highlander Hunter, but that's probably about it. So very fringe. Toxic Reinforcements, I think is terrible. Corrosive Breath is good in a Dragon Hunter deck, but it's just okay in everything else. Phase Stalker is an okay secret card, but I think Mass Contender is still better. Diving Gryphon is incredibly valuable, and we'll probably see some fringe play in Highlander Hunter. Primordial Explorer, I think people are underrating this card. I think it's very, very strong, does a lot for one card. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that quite a bit. Stormhammer, I don't think is very good. I think it's pretty bad, actually. Dragonbane is a very interesting card, and I think we'll see it pop up a little bit. And the last card, Varanus, is not that good to me because it requires another card to help you out to actually clear the board. So it's half a board clear. Great. So overall, Hunter, I'm kind of disappointed with the Hunter cards, actually. I don't think Dragon Hunter is quite there, and the other cards just kind of like all over the place, really. There's a little bit of secret support. There's hero power support of all things. So slightly disappointed with Hunter, actually. You know what? I'm going to change that from slightly disappointed to very disappointed. I'm very disappointed with Hunter cards. But that's Hunter, I guess. I appreciate you guys watching. Look forward to the next review.